Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at an incident in Pretoria West that has left both locals and Zimbabwean nationals in the spotlight. Reports are coming in that a group of Zimbabweans who had set up illegal church tents on occupied land were chased away by residents. This matter has sparked fresh debate on land use, migration, and how communities respond when they feel their space is being taken up without permission. Please make sure you stay with me right until the end so you can see the sources and try to verify the news for yourself. And while you are here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated with the latest developments from across South Africa. The situation in Pretoria West unfolded when residents noticed church tents being erected on land that is already known to be occupied or under dispute. According to locals, these tents were not put up with any formal permission from authorities, and people immediately raised concerns about what they saw as an invasion of community land. Witnesses say the group behind the tents were Zimbabweans who had gathered for church services, but things quickly escalated when frustrated residents demanded that the space be cleared. Now, this is not the first time such tensions have flared up in South Africa, especially in Pretoria West, which has become a hotspot for debates about illegal land occupation, housing shortages, and the role of undocumented migrants. On one side, you have communities already dealing with overcrowding, poor service delivery, and high unemployment. On the other side, you have foreign nationals, in this case Zimbabweans, trying to find space to live, worship, or start small initiatives. These realities often clash, and unfortunately, they sometimes boil over into confrontation. Eyewitness accounts reveal that the residents did not just politely ask the Zimbabweans to leave. They became vocal, chased them away, and even threatened to burn down the tents if they returned. Community leaders say they are tired of being overlooked while outsiders occupy land illegally. One resident was quoted saying that they feel like rules are not being applied fairly, and that the government is turning a blind eye while local communities suffer. What makes this incident particularly sensitive is that it touches on both religion and migration, two powerful issues in South Africa's public discourse. Religion is deeply important to many people, and communities are usually tolerant of churches and gatherings. But in this case, the issue was not about faith, it was about land. And land in South Africa is one of the most contested and emotional subjects in our history. To many locals, the idea that foreigners could just come and occupy a piece of land without any official permission feels like a deep insult, especially when citizens themselves are still struggling with housing shortages and waiting lists. The Zimbabweans, for their part, have not spoken out much publicly about the incident, but those close to the matter suggest they were simply looking for a space to worship and build their congregation. With limited resources and little access to formal property, they resorted to putting up tents. From their perspective, it was not about breaking laws but about practicing their faith. Unfortunately, in South Africa's current climate, even small actions like this can spark large reactions. The city of Tshwane has reportedly been made aware of the incident, but officials have not yet issued a detailed statement about whether the land in question was already allocated, whether it is earmarked for development, or how such cases will be handled moving forward. This gap in communication only adds to the frustration of residents, who feel they must take matters into their own hands. Community activists argue that this incident is another example of government's failure to manage migration and land issues properly. They say that if rules were enforced consistently, ordinary citizens would not feel forced to confront foreigners themselves. At the same time, some human rights voices warn that the language and actions of chasing people away could encourage xenophobia, which South Africa has already struggled with in the past. So, we find ourselves at a crossroads again. Should local communities be expected to tolerate what they see as illegal land use, even if it is done in the name of religion? Should foreign nationals be allowed more flexibility given their difficult circumstances, or should the law be applied strictly to everyone, regardless of their background? And how does the government step in to ensure that tensions like this do not spiral into violence? As we continue to follow this case, it is worth noting how ordinary South Africans are increasingly vocal about land and jobs. Pretoria West, in particular, has seen protests and even violent clashes in the past, often tied to land invasions. For many residents, the fear is that today it starts with a tent, tomorrow it becomes shacks, and in a few years, a whole settlement. That fear drives much of the anger we are seeing now. Still, one cannot ignore the fact that Zimbabweans, like many other foreign nationals, are often in a desperate situation. Their home country continues to struggle economically, forcing many to seek opportunities in South Africa. For them, putting up a church tent is not necessarily an attempt to occupy land permanently, but it can easily be perceived that way by locals who already feel left behind. It is these small sparks that ignite bigger fires in South Africa's already tense social landscape. And if leaders do not step in with clear rules, fair enforcement, and dialogue, then confrontations like the one in Pretoria West will only become more frequent. Now, if you are still with me at this point, thank you so much for watching and listening. Please hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update. And let's be honest for a moment, only in South Africa do we have situations where even a church tent can cause a mini political crisis. At this rate, if someone tries to set up a tent for a wedding in Pretoria West, they might need police approval first. That is how sensitive land matters have become. And while we laugh a little about it, we should also remember that behind these tensions are real people, real communities, and real struggles. It is easy to make jokes, but it is also important that we find lasting solutions that balance compassion with fairness, and rules with reality. All images used are for illustration purposes only. Sources: Pretoria News, Sowetan Live, Eyewitness News, City Press, Daily Maverick.